We've seen black hands and green lanterns, but it's time to introduce the Red Lantern. The Black Star floats through the darkness of space. Smaller ships circle it, staying close to provide aid. Finally, the living planet known as Mogo arrives at its destination and speaks.
I am Mogo. I speak the doctrine of Mu. I have the authority given by the controller of Mu, and I uphold the law of Quard.
Mogo declares, its voice echoing through the darkness of space so that all may hear it.
You are J586. You have trespassed against the law of Quard. Black Star intelligencers have detected 3 subversives inside your sphere of influence. Cultists of Oa. You have chosen not to surrender them.
Mogo bellows. On the planet far below, the people of J586 have begun to scramble. They can see Mogo floating far overhead and hear its powerful voice. One of their officials scrambles to their communications array. Honored Mogo, I am broadcasting to you across all frequencies. I am Urklith, first among equals, Urklith states, explaining that there are 7 billion people on the planet. They have not willfully disobeyed, but they could not find the 3 cultists.
When the law of Quard is broken, the sin must be corrected. And when the law of Quard is ignored, the sin of one becomes the sin of all. Such is the law of Quard.
Mogo declares as one of the satellite ships breaks away and begins to head towards the planet. On board, the Black Star intelligencers are scanning for the gateway, but they cannot detect it. Suddenly, 3 green blips appear on their instruments. Subversives detected, all 3 of them, the intelligencer reports. The captain of the ship nods. Then you have approval to signal the cagecraft, intelligencer. Release the weaponer, the captain orders. Below them, the 3 Abins of the green launch themselves forward, only slowing briefly in their fear of the vast Black Star that is Mogo. Be without fear. Death is only an end state, their leader declares. Before them, the cagecraft hovers to a stop, and its doors open. They're deploying a black hand, one of the Abins whispers. The one known as Kurina launches forward, green energy pulsing around her. I've got him, she shouts. She flies faster towards the black hand, willing herself to be without fear. But a massive hand, writhing with dark energy, reaches out and grabs her out of the air. It closes sharply and crushes her skull in its powerful grip. Her blood floats through the vacuum of space until it swirls away to reveal the Black Hand. Poozer! Black Hand Kilowog grunts. The Abin Greens stare in horror. He's an Abin Quard metaphil, a weaponer. Killing is what they do, but he is chaotic action. We are correct action. We can beat him, Aricia whispers to her leader. The 2 fly flanking Kilowog. The Black Hand grunts with approval. Flanking move! Look at that! You bloodless greenies are learning tactics! He snaps at them. But he whirls and lashes out at Metaphil with dark energy. But the Abin Green becomes intangible, meaning for the dark energy to pass through him. But the blades still pain him and slice off his arm. His one eye widens in shock. How could he touch? Metaphil whispers. But Kilowog just smiles. Chaotic action, poozers. That's the light of the Black Star. He grunts at them. He smiles as he turns on Aricia. It can't be fought. It can't be tamed. It can't be contained. It's the power the universe runs on. The dark circle around all that is. And it obeys our will. You should have run, little Abin. That was bad judgment. He sneers. Orisia nods as she begins to gather green energy in her hands. It pulses around her. Maybe at first, but judgment is in progress. She shouts as she lets loose a blast of energy. It snaps across the space between them and slams into Kilowog, burning his head away and leaving his body to float lifelessly in space. This is Orisia Arab. I speak to Oa. Existence was ended for the weaponer Kilowog. I will now remove our green lantern from J586 in the hope that Orisia begins to report as she turns back to the planet. But Kilowog's voice suddenly echoes from his body as it twitches back to life. Hope? There's no hope. Hope is dead. There is only will. The weaponer growls as he reaches out for her. Below, the people of J586 are still pleading for mercy from the mighty Mogo. Their leader begs, asking him to spare them. Mighty Mogo, I beseech you, there are 7 billion sentient lives here, he calls out. But Mogo suddenly unleashes a powerful blast of black star energy. It slams into the planet and splits it apart. Fire erupts all around and ends in the blink of an eye. No, there aren't. Mogo rumbles as the lifeless planet begins to drift apart. Meanwhile, the Intelligencer craft begins to scan the remains of the planet, trying to find the Lantern Gateway. Kilowog finds several pieces, the bodies of the Green Lanterns floating nearby. The Lanterns are dead, and any baby insurgents those religious freaks were training are dead too, he reports in. He begins to float back to the ship, but suddenly, a red blur of energy rips through the Intelligencer ship, destroying it. Kilowog whirls in surprise as the ball of energy begins to circle around him. It suddenly snaps around and slams into him, knocking him into a nearby crust of the destroyed planet. Kilowog shakes his head as he recovers from the attack and looks up to find Abin Red floating before him. Sorry I'm late, the Red states plainly. Kilowog stares at him in surprise. Those were black stars! You killed a black star! You can't just... Kilowog starts to say, but the red ball of energy loops back around and smacks him in the face. You know the red level of light, of course. The red power, it's defensive in nature. To the initiate, the Ayn Rao, it imparts a degree of strength and control over bodily process, up to and including changes in form, the Red says. Kilowog launches at him, reaching out with his black hand. I'll kill you, he snarls. The Red merely places his hands together. The adept of the red light, the Abin Rao, shield, he says as a red bubble forms around him, can create constructs of surprising durability. Kilowog's hand slams against it before bouncing off painfully. To gain this power through Oa requires displays of restraint, so it is never taught as a means of attack. I am Tomar Ray who is Anomaly. I did not receive the red power through the teachings of Oa, Kilowog of Bolovaxvik. I stole it, so I don't restrain myself at all, Tomar states. He reaches out a hand and forms a red box around Kilowog. Wait! The black hand calls out in fear, but Tomar moves his hands quickly. Small box, he commands. The box shrinks in size, inflicting so much damage on Kilowog's form instantly that he is unable to regenerate. Tomar stares at the box for a moment. Back to Mogo now, small box, and give the face of steel my warmest greetings. Tomar orders before he disappears into the vastness of space. The box floats for a moment before rocketing towards the living planet. Mogo is disturbed by these events and bellows in anger. Meanwhile, the box floats down to the surface of the world. Below, its gray skin is formed by the bones of trillions of dead. The skeletons of those that haven't been turned completely to dust, disturbed by the passing of the small box. Finally, it arrives at a black tower, a dark temple. Inside, it finds a lone figure standing before a throne. Ah, poor Kilowog, compressed beyond the Black Hand's ability to heal. I warned him of overconfidence, the man states as he reaches for the box. But he knows Tomar's true purpose: to distract him, to take his gaze away from the green that he has sensed. But the figure waves away the box. An anomaly at the green level is more dangerous than you could ever be, Tomar. If allowed to grow, he begins to whisper. But suddenly, a strange star-like creature on his shoulder speaks up.
Controller of Mew, do you still want this recorded, Controller of Mew?
The creature asks. The man reaches for the creature. Oh dear, a scrivener who can't tell the difference between scripture and confidential information. That I'd call a liability. I'll record the closing paragraph myself. Let us then talk of Mew, the maker, unmaker, he says, before squeezing the creature to death in his hands. The man smiles as he steps forward, ignoring the pool of blood beneath his feet. What is understanding? What is correct action? Why, what we will is correct. Those who reach the gold level of understanding, no matter how gifted, can only rise to initiate. One cannot believe that the Owen way is right and rise any higher than Ein. So there is only one Abin of the gold power, and I find myself walking the left-hand path. Sinestro sneers, gold energy beginning to pulse out of him. And that was the complete story for Absolute Green Lantern, issue 7 by Al Ewing. A lot happened this issue. Kilowog the Black Hand, the Absolute Red Lantern, and Absolute Sinestro. This arc is already gearing up to be something awesome, and I am excited for it. But what about you? Let me know in the comments below. And like and subscribe for notifications of new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.